Hi, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Organizing Untold. Thank you for joining in. I'm your host, Sierra Hamilton, and we have another guest here joining us today. Thank you, Kiana, for joining in.
No, thank you for having me.
You're welcome. If you could, please let us know who you are and what you do.
Okay, my name is Kiana. I am a graduate student in occupational therapy. Um, I'm a wife and I have sisters and friends, and I like to listen to music and just like hang out and just do normal things. I like documentaries, so yeah.
Thanks. Well, thank you for taking time to let us know a little bit more about you. Um, so, what we'll be talking about today is just your organizing journey. And so, what are some areas that you feel like you're not as confident in that you could or would want to be more confident in, or just that you in general just feel that you're not as confident in?
Sure. So I've always been a very unorganized person. So, I am neurodivergent. I have ADHD. Always been unorganized. Never had my homework like where it needed to be. Always lost my shoes. Like whatever. Always been very unorganized. So everything is a little bit chaotic. So, everything is clean, but it's chaotic. So my closet and drawers over here, they're a little unorganized. Like into like the kitchen currently. I just cooked. It's a little bit unorganized. Finding my socks, just kind of little things like that. Just kind of all over the place. Always a little bit all over the place.
Yeah, yeah. How and with that being the case, like how does that make you feel? Like, does it is it something that you feel bothers you, or is it something that you feel okay with and you want to, or yeah, is it something that bothers you and you want to kind of switch things up a little bit, or is it something that you're okay with?
So for majority of my life, it's always been something like, okay, I'm just unorganized. That's just me. I flourish in chaos. It's no big deal. But as I'm like getting older, I'm realizing that organizational skills are important for stability in essentially all domains of your life. And the older you get, the more responsibilities you have, and the harder it is to keep up if you don't have some type of systems in place to kind of keep everything in order. So now I'm kind of at the stage where I'm like, okay, I'm understanding the utility of organization. I know that I'm not good and I'm ready to implement like some change.
That makes sense. And when you say you know that you're not good, what would you define good to be in your terms, in your opinion?
Consistent.
Okay.
Consistent with organizing, knowing where things are, what I need to do, when I need to do it, and not only knowing those things, but also like implementing it and doing it. So, you
Yeah,
know. Mm-hmm.
that makes sense. And I know me and you have been talking about just some different ways to organize and some different tips that could be helpful in terms of like becoming consistent with being organized. Do you feel like some of those have, in a sense, helped? And do you feel like um, they've they've helped you kind of, in a sense, almost start to develop systems?
Yes. Yes. So like we were kind of talking about earlier, like over break, I got a little lax and I wasn't on top of things. But I will, let's see, whiteboard. You can see it, my smiley
Yeah.
faces once I finish with tasks, like each little to do thing, it gets a little smiley face. And so, that's rewarding myself, a little bit of operant conditioning on myself. So that is helpful, kind of planning after I get home from school, and just okay, what do I need to do tomorrow? And then if there's excess time, okay, let me try to get my clothes and shoes and stuff like that like together for the next day. What am I gonna eat? You know, so it's like it's a lot to plan, like when you really think about it, because you have to like think about food, you have to think about your clothes, you have to think about all of the tasks that you have to do for school and the assignments, and you got to be at field work, and you know it's a lot. Adulting
Yeah.
is a lot. It's not a lot of fun. I don't enjoy it, but it's necessary.
Yeah, that's understandable. And so when you say it's a lot, but and it's not a lot of fun, what do you feel like in your life is fun currently? Like, if you had to define fun, what does that look like?
Spending time with my friends and my family and my husband and listening to music and going on YouTube and just like watching just the most random like clips of just chilling, vibing, going on a walk, like I don't know, seeing a new part of Atlanta because that's where I am right now. It really is the little things. Spending time with my niece. She's
Mhm.
6. She's so adorable, and I went over for Thanksgiving and we made water balloons
Oh.
and we were yeah, and my sister made like little lasagnas and we're talking about I'm gonna make like some cinnamon rolls. So we're gonna
Mhm.
make cinnamon rolls the next time we see each other. So I mean it really is the little things in life that are fun. Like
Yeah,
really.
yeah. Do you feel like you can incorporate that into organizing to make it maybe not make it fun per se, but to at least like bring that fun into that space with you?
I can try. So sometimes I will listen to music that I like while I'm planning, but then sometimes I'll get distracted, so then I have to turn the music off, and then I'm bored again. But we can just do instrumentals. Like instrumentals work pretty
Yeah.
well.
Do you feel like you would start singing?
You say, "Oh yeah," I'll like start singing, just vibing. I'll be like,
Yeah.
"Oh, I have things to do."
Yeah, and I know that something else that we've like mentioned before previously as well is like incorporating, bringing someone along with you for the journey of organizing and just having someone do it with you. Has that been something that you feel like you've been able to start yet or not yet?
It's something we talked about. So my husband, he's very organized. Like he likes to organize. Like it helps him calm down. Like it's the opposite. Like I have a bit of an aversion to organization, but like he likes to organize and he likes for things to be nice and tidy, and it helps him relax. Like I'm very much a type of person where like, oh, it can be done tomorrow, and he's like, no, I cannot sleep if I don't get it done tonight. So
Yeah.
having someone kind of like him is helpful, and yeah, we plan on organizing some of our drawers together soon. So
Okay. I look forward to hearing how that goes. And it's almost like, as you were talking, it's kind of like one of those things where it seems like organizing, in a sense, even though it's something that is more of an aversion for you, it's something that's also like uncomfortable in a sense, but necessary and needed, which is, again, going back to what you mentioned earlier of how it's important to create systems and things
mm-hmm.
to be able to operate in life and get things done in a timely manner. Um, so yeah, so it almost in a sense brings you back to the point of how even though it's even though it's something that may not like draw you in and draw your attention because it's so important or because it's a necessary part of life, it's kind of like having a little discomfort at the beginning is necessary to be able to develop a steady habit that works best for you and that flows for you. Would you say
True.
that?
Yeah, no, that's true. That's life, you know. Initial discomfort, you know, and then slowly easing your way and fine tuning things to, accommodate like you and how you do things. For sure, it's a process. It's a process.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Mm.
Sometimes not the easiest and sometimes not the quickest one.
Right. It's a little challenging. It
Yeah.
is.
Yeah. And I know you mentioned that with so like sometimes you feel like you operate better in chaos and with things like with the deadline being right up on you in a sense and very immediate and in your face. um, and so you mentioned maybe creating like false deadlines and false a false urgency or a pseudo urgent situation in a sense could help. Do you feel like you've ever sat down and thought personally what a pseudo urgent scenario looks like for you?
Look, this is something I've thought about for quite some time because, like, I actually majored in like psychology, like experimental psychology, like before, and like these types of things, like cognition and like simulating tasks to make you do it, like conditioning yourself, like to do things. Very, it's something that has like interested me a
Hmm.
lot, but actually, urgency is one of those things that's very hard to simulate because you know it's not real. You
Yeah.
know, it's not like a lab rat or a dog. You know, doesn't know the difference. I'm a
I
human.
was.
You know what I mean? So it's like it's harder. It's harder, unfortunately. But yeah, simulating urgency is very tough. If I had a way to do it, I would, because when I am if there's a deadline, like I'm so productive, I'm in the zone, like I can I'm sharp. Like I can do three times the amount of work in like this amount of time during when there is a deadline. Um, and yeah, it's challenging. I think I'm a very good procrastinator, and I know exactly to the dot
Hmm.
what I can and cannot do. So like if something is due at 11:59, I know, like, all right, I'm gonna have to start. I can start at like 9:07, and then I'll
Hmm.
have it in by 11:59. Like I just know. And so that doesn't help me because I reinforce my own bad habits, and it's not good. It's not.
Yeah. No, I get that. I get that. And even as you were talking, like you were saying, like you're not a lab rat or a dog, like a conditioned dog, like it made me think of Pavlov and
You're right.
yeah, all
Yeah, I was thinking
the
that
psychology.
too. Yeah.
But no, yeah, it's true. It's that sense of urgency. Like you said, you're a human being, and because it's something that is not entirely like real in a sense, it's difficult to simulate. So even in that sense, like knowing something like that, um, have you just like gotten to have you wrapped your mind around in a sense just saying, okay, I know that I can't simulate this urgency, so I'm just going to choose to accept it for what it is, and anything else that I can change, I'm going to change that. Have you thought of it along those lines?
Hmm. What do you mean by that?
So say for example you have a deadline for something that's due,
Hmm.
and while it's urgent for you to like get it done, you know that you're someone who operates with a little amount of like with as less amount of time as possible for getting things done. So just like how you said you can get like three things done that are at like 8:59 and then it's due at like 11:59 and you can get those
Hmm.
three things done within that small time frame. Have you ever just said, okay, I know I can get these things done within this time frame, so I'm going to do it. But when it comes to things that maybe aren't as urgent, for example, like the daily task of like cooking or doing laundry, or just anything that's not as like one and done in a sense as a final exam or as a paper or assignment that you know just needs to be done at this time. Have you ever kind of like looked at those things with a different light of getting them done when you can get them done, but then just choosing to accept that this small time frame for this paper is something that I know that I can do and I'm gonna just continue to keep it this way? Have you ever looked at it in that light? Does that
Mm,
make sense?
normally not. I usually just like do deadlines, urgency, immediate, like things that are immediate. That's typically how I operate in everything. I will say that when I do plan, like, okay, I'm gonna have like the bathroom cleaner, the food cook, like before I have to go to school, and so that's urgent. I have to be at school, unfortunately, because they take attendance. So usually when I do it like that, then I'm actually am able to get quite a lot done because it's like, okay, this is urgent. I have to do it
Yeah.
before this. So in that way, I'm not even really simulating urgency. It is urgency.
Yeah.
And so I guess that is actually something that kind of helps. I forgot to mention that.
No, you're good. You're
Like
good.
like taking like my same bad habits, my same bad study habits and implementing them into my daily life just for the sake of being productive and not living in squalor. So a lot of times I will do that. I will
Yeah.
do that. So I don't know.
Yeah. Well, honestly, it sounds like you might have solved your problem.
No, I think I just did. I think yeah, that's so true.
Yeah. No, but no, I do understand though. Like as you said, like being someone who's a neurodivergent person, but then also just like knowing how you operate in a sense of getting
Mhm.
things done, like in a rushed and immediate and urgent time frame in a sense, and not actually doing it several days or several hours in advance. Sometimes it in all reality, sometimes organizing can be looked at as like us getting it done in a like in several hours or in several days. And organizing is different for everybody in a sense. So
Mhm.
even though in society we may not seem and we may not have this idea of this small time frame and this small window being a definition of organized, in a sense it still is a definition of organized because you got
Yeah,
it done.
got it done. Hey, I'm at the point in my life where I'm just like, I'm just trying to get it done. You know, get it done. I'm just trying to get my stuff done. I'm just trying to get
Yeah,
it all done.
definitely. So in all really in all essence it boils down to just knowing that for everybody that organizing looks different, and organizing can actually be seen as, again, the small time frame, the small window,
Mm-hmm.
even though society doesn't count it that way.
Yeah,
um,
for sure. For
yeah,
sure.
so
Environment and, external pressures and contexts and
mhm.
they all go hand in hand. Your personal disposition, like your environment, the task, it all goes hand in hand. And I guess you just kind of have to fine tune it to each person because each person is different. Each person needs a different environment and circumstance to like complete a task. Like some people may be like, no, I need a long time to like do this. I'm going to plan out one day and I'm going to do everything. I'm like, that's great for that person, but for me, I'm not going to stick to it. I will not do it. And I have to do what keeps me alert, and trying to crunch everything in before I have to go to class in the morning is actually kind of helpful. I
Yeah,
think so far that's been one of the most helpful things. That and my handy dandy whiteboard with my smiley faces, just having everything out, seeing
yeah.
what I need to do. And I do try to time block when I'm trying to be very productive, and that's also helpful.
Hmm.
So, I mean, sometimes, it's more often than not, it's more of an estimation because things typically take a little longer or shorter than anticipated. But that's been pretty helpful as well.
That makes sense. That makes sense. Well, any, I guess, other questions or anything else that you feel like you're not confident with around organizing or around the topic of organizing that you want to like ask questions about or talk about here?
Hmm. Maybe I should get a plan. I had a planner. And it was a daily planner. It was
Yeah.
like time block, but I lost it. Go figure. So, I will try. I think I might reorder one from Amazon and I'll give it a go. And I will certainly let you know how that works out.
Okay. Are you a digital or, well, you're a physical planner person?
I like to write things down.
Yeah.
Mhm.
We've talked about this. Yeah. All right. Well, Kiana, again, thank you for joining in. It's been nice having you. Nice coming to some, in a sense, realizations with you
Mhm.
throughout this podcast episode of how sometimes what society says may not necessarily work for each individual person, and it
Mhm.
just goes back to personalizing things.
For
So,
sure.
thank you for enlightening us on today's episode. And I look forward to catching up with you to talk about how that planner is going. When do you plan to buy it? We want to put a time frame on it.
We'll buy it before the end of the week.
Okay, before the end of the week.
Yes.
Okay. Well, we're set to talk at the end of the week. So,
Awesome.
all
So you keep me in
right.
check. Having someone to kind of keep you in check and send reminders, that kind of helps too. So you've been very
Gotcha.
helpful. Yes.
Yes, you're welcome. I'm glad that I can be that. All right. Well, I look forward to talking with you soon. Again, thank you for joining in, and I hope you have a good night.
Yes, you too. Thank you, Sierra.
You're welcome.
Good night.
Good night. All right, everyone. Thank you for joining in for another episode of Organizing Untold. We had another guest here today, Kiana, who joined in with us. And so, as we mentioned, sometimes what society deems as uh, just a definition for something, sometimes that definition isn't necessarily um, perfect and catered to each individual's needs. So sometimes it may be helpful to go outside of the box and actually uh, create a definition that works more so along with what your lifestyle looks like in order to be able to organize in ways that are going to be helpful for you individually. If you are just tuning in, and hey, Alex, if you're just tuning in to today's episode, please go back and start from the beginning and watch the full episode. I guarantee that you'll gain something new that you may not have heard about before, or that you may not have necessarily been enlightened by before today's episode. So, again, go back to the beginning if you haven't started from the beginning and watch it all the way through. This is Organizing Untold, where we help busy business owners and those who work between 8 a.m. and 5 p.m. become confident with organizing. On every last Wednesday of each month, we bring on a guest who may not feel as confident in their organizing journey and just be able to have an open conversation with them and let them be able to ask any questions about organizing that they may have, and we'll provide just feedback and insight as well, and just talk through that conversation. So, Organizing Untold is a segment and portion of Nicely Placed Organizing, where we help those who are first time home buyers, borderline hoarders, and full time artists with art studios and workspaces become confident with, or be able to find what they need when they need it, and be able to release them of their stress that their clutter is causing them, and meet their deadlines on time. So we hope that you will take advantage of two sales that we have going on currently. One is our Cyber Monday sale that is ending on Thursday night. And so right now you can get virtual organizing sessions 50% off. So, for example, a 30-minute organizing session virtually is now $30 until Thursday. So please take advantage of that. You don't know when that sale will be active again, so take advantage. And if you haven't seen any of our reviews, our virtual organizing sessions are super helpful. So please be sure to look at those reviews so that you can see how we've been able to help other people through those virtual organizing sessions. And for our other sale that we have going on, please visit our Instagram and our Facebook accounts to find out what that sale is. It's also featuring our virtual organizing sessions, but for time purposes and reasons, I don't want to keep rambling on. So, yes, please take advantage of the deals and of the sales. And it's the holiday season, so we want to make sure that you're organized, and we want you to not be in a rush, not be overwhelmed and stressed as you're preparing for the holiday season. So, thank you for joining in, and we look forward to seeing you next week for another episode of Organizing Untold. And y'all have a good night.